Are you focused on client retention? Are you doing as much for it as you think you should be? Let's talk some more about that. Hi, I'm Tony Amador, Chief Client Officer and co-founder of Proxxy, your executive multiplier. Today, I have a conversation with Murrey McKee, a great longtime Proxxy client and small business owner and founder of two different businesses. And in both cases, he is focused on customers. And that focus goes everything from taking care of them through keeping them. So we're going to talk about that with him today. I think you'll enjoy it. Murrey, thanks for being here with me today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a real privilege.
Thanks, man. I'm excited to talk about this topic in particular. Of course, customer retention is one of those that, of course, near and dear to my heart, as I spent 18 years in client satisfaction and customer satisfaction, and so thinking about the why and customer loyalty and all of that is where I started my career, and I've done more work there than any place else. And so excited to bring you into this just because of your a few unique things about the business, and so I'd love for you to let's just jump in. If you'll tell me the story about how you got started and how you think about customer retention.
Yeah. So we got started originally in late 2011, early 2012. And so just our business, backing up a quick second, is C1 Insurance is a personal lines independent insurance agency. And so we sell home, auto, boat, umbrellas, all types of insurance to the individual. And my utilities is a home services connection business. And so when people are moving, we help people set up all their home services: water, gas, electricity, TV, internet, security. It's a national platform. And so we show up every day in the customer service business. And so our genesis, our original business was C1 Insurance. And we started it late 2011, early 2012, and launched it with a great friend of mine, Stephen Frankie and Justin Trail, to launch that business. And so,
yeah, and I heard you tell the story the other day in the all hands about the name, how you came up with the name.
Oh yeah, so C1 stands for customers first, and so everything in our business plan is about the customer. And so we had this motto of put the customer first, take care of the customer. If we take care of the customer, they're going to take care of us. And so somewhere along the lines, we had said customers first enough to where we said, let's call it customers first. And that doesn't make sense. And somebody said C1, and that is stuck. And today, it's a name that we love because of what it stands for.
Right.
And it's this mantra of customers first, do what's right for the customer. And if we do that, they'll take care of us. 12 years later, it's still true. And we're still
absolutely it is. I mean, thinking about that, what are the ways that you show customer first?
Yeah. So we think about it. Customers really want three things. They want to be fought for, they want to be well informed, and they want to be responded to. And so when we think about that, it's what does the customer want versus what do we want, right? Like oftentimes what is convenient for them is not convenient for us, i.e. lunchtime.
Right.
We have a lot of customers that want to talk over lunch. Well, our folks want to take lunch. And so we have to that's a nuanced thing, but it is important to us to be available when our customers want to be available.
Right. Love it. And so when we think about it all the way to, okay, so we care about the customers, we're taking care of the customers, we're doing the right thing, which I know also for C1 in particular includes really understanding the customer and what they need, and then having solutions for them. And so one of the things I always think about, and I tell people all the time, is you could go to State Farm or you could go to Allstate, and they have one option for you, and it might not be the right option for you. And so I've always thought about that being a piece of the why. We have multiple options. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. It gives us, so being a broker, we do work with a lot of different carriers, and it gives us what it does, it gives us the ability to have a consultative sales approach. Right. As we get to be consultants, it's, hey, present the options to the customer and talk through what is their risk tolerance.
Right.
What is the value of offsetting the risk? So some of our customers hate insurance. They believe it's worthless, and they say, I want to self-insure my home. Awesome. We have products that meet that need. We have other customers that say, hey, we want to buy a lot of insurance. Awesome. We have carriers that meet that need. And so we do get to take a customer first approach to say, hey, what do you want? What kind of risk do you want to self-insure? And here are the options, and here are the costs of those options.
Right.
And then here's the pros and cons of these different carriers. And what we've learned is every customer is unique. It'll have the same profile, but customer A will want something very different than customer B.
And they may actually choose the most expensive option because it's the right option for them.
Absolutely.
And you've given them that option. And so when we think about all of that and we go, okay, well, so how do you think about retention and the importance of that and how you make that happen?
Yeah. So a number of years ago, when we really started to take it serious, right, it is a lot easier to keep a customer than to get a new one.
Right.
And so a number of years ago, working with our strategists, it was, and our book of business was growing. We said, hey, how do we get better? How do we drive, a greater degree of customer satisfaction, which will also drive retention? And that's a growth tool, right? That's a compounding growth tool for us. And so knowing if we have higher customer satisfaction, and why I say it's compounding is a customer that is very happy with the service, they're going to stick with us and refer a friend.
Right.
And so that 1 turns into 3. That 3 turns into 9. And so how we addressed it was, a deep dive into our book with our strategists to say, hey, how can we understand these different customers? Do we need to tier them? Do we need to segment them? How do we need to understand them? Is it a premium amount? Is it a policy count? What is it? And we came up with a complex first, simplified to understand it's a combination of that.
Right.
But what we're really trying to get to is customer behavior. Is what customers can we influence by how we serve them?
Exactly.
Ultimately, that was a tier for us. Is, do customers value the customer service? Do they value being well informed? Do they value the annual phone call? Do they value expert guidance? And so we identified those and then started doing it. Okay, let's do an annual checkup call. Let's put together a remarket for these customer base to say, hey, here's 6 different carriers that will insure your home, and here's the cost.
Right.
Here are the pros and the cons, and having a home checkup. And that was received exceptionally well by that segment of clients.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, it is so incredible to think back on that. And by the way, I am and was the strategist that Murray's talking about. And, that idea of, I remember you calling and saying, okay, and there were 2 things, like, retention matters. We have to keep our customers. And I said, okay, what's the goal? And you told me 88%. That's like, okay, what is the number today? And you said, I'm not sure. And it's like, okay. And I remember too, it was also, we were incenting customer service to hit a number, but we weren't sure what the number was. And so your first ask of us was, go figure out what the number is. And so we dug into the data and we figured out that we were actually at around 90% or 91%. It's like, hey, okay, well, 88 was, and again, always with you, it's like your gut is right a lot. And so you knew that you were close to it, but to actually be able to come back and say it's 91% and then start, to your point, like looking at what are the common denominators. And we realized that multiple policies and the size of those policies, all those people were more likely to, our message was resonating with them better. And so we figured out a tiering system and focused on tiers. And it doesn't mean that we won't take every customer, but we really understand who's going to value us.
Yeah.
And so can we have more of those customers because they are more loyal and they will stay longer, and make sure we take care of them. And so, yeah, just amazing to watch those numbers and be thinking about it each month, because that's the other thing is that, to your point, we got to the place where now we're measuring it each month. Everyone has a metric, has a KPI for that on retention. And so they're all actively thinking about how do they keep their book of business while they're also adding clients, because new people are coming all the time. And so, I think as we've gone through this, we've also added customer satisfaction, and we, got surveys from them and heard how they thought about us and how we were handling things there. I'd say, so with all of that, and as we've continued to move the needle on all of that, kind of what's next? What's the next piece of how you keep moving retention and impacting it?
Yeah. So I'll get to it next. I want to back up. I think you're selling yourself a little bit short. We started in 84, right? It was first we had to measure it, and it was an 84, and we set a goal of 91, which we got to. And so I know that was many years ago, but when we started measuring it, we were actually a little worse than we thought. And we were able to get it to 91 because of all of those things that we just talked about. We took those actions and it got us to a 91 was our peak.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I had forgotten that it was that at the, so
and
it was this combination. You're right. We just kept layering pieces in. I remember we'd see the data, and then we'd have a call, and it's like, I think we found another thing, and I think we found another thing, and we kept putting those things together until we could tell a story to the staff too, so that they really understand their role. I mean, I'm thinking that, and you mentioned at the beginning that it's this idea of, having the right information in a timely manner, being responsive. And, so I think about, the project we're working on now is making sure we're as responsive as we can be. Right. And so making sure our customer service team is always answering the phone and is right there answering emails and being able to get back to people quickly and getting them the information they need. And we didn't have good metrics for that. And we're adding metrics for that too, just to keep on. We're always working on it is how I feel about it. And, anybody that's followed us talking about the leaders list over the last few episodes, one of the things we talked about is the service profit chain, and that in the service profit chain, happy employees make happy customers, which improve the value of the business and the profits. And I'd say we looked at, as we were doing all this stuff, we also measured the satisfaction of our employees to see how they were doing. And we've made marked improvement in that as well. And so I think all those pieces, I think about 5 years, all those pieces build together to get to this spot where our employees that we're keeping them, making them very happy, which makes our customers happy, which makes them stay, which drives the business. And it's such C1 is such a great case study for that. And to that point, I think My Utilities in that same vein is following those same kinds of things of making sure we have data, making sure that our people are happy because they're going to make customers happy, and they're going to tell other people about our service and grow it from there. So
it's how do you evolve, and it's a living organism. And so if you look at C1, if for us, we got too static and probably too lazy. If we really take a critical view of the last 12 months, is we didn't anticipate what the market was going to bring us. And that's something that we pride ourselves on, is expertise.
Right.
We know the market. We know what's going on, right? How we serve our customers is having a wide breadth of carriers that meets our customers' needs in the areas they are, the size of assets they have. And we got lazy and just thought, hey, it's going to be 2024. It's going to be another year. Well, we're in the insurance business in Texas. Right. And we're in the insurance business in Texas, in Dallas, Texas. And so it's the epicenter of rising insurance rates. Every article in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Dallas Morning News, NBC, you name it, is talking about this rising costs of insurance in Texas and really across the country. But Texas is the worst. And so we're delivering outsized increases that really affect our customers' pocketbooks. Inflation is destroying Texans right now.
Yeah.
And we were too lazy on it. You know, we didn't anticipate enough to say, hey, 2024 is going to be a really, really hard year because we're going to be delivering big increases. And that's going to be hard for consumers because everything is getting more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of got caught this year a little bit, is we weren't as proactive as we needed. I mean, we'd have the resources that we needed to have.
Mm-hmm.
So when we budgeted and anticipated to say, hey, how many phone calls are we going to get? We missed it by a lot.
Right.
Right. You know, we're 50%, we're 100% over plan right now on And so you asked me what's next as we look back and say, hey, there's things about our customer experience over the last 5 years that have been amazing. And this last 12 months has really been challenging. And it's really because we were too slow to respond to the market. We were too slow to respond to a unique set of customers' needs. And that's bit us a little bit. And our customer satisfaction has decreased. Now, in the macro, somebody says, hey, you're renewing 90, 80, 89% of your customers. They're really pleased.
Right.
But the micro for us is it should be 93.
Right.
Hey, within that 2 and 3 point drop is unhappy customers. Well, why? They weren't well informed. It took us too long to respond to them, and they didn't feel fought for.
Right.
And there's things that are inside of our control that we didn't do well. And that's what we're really trying to address today is how do we respond to every customer in the right time frame and do what each customer needs to have, because our business is just a collective of many. It's made up of single individuals. And so we have to nail every single customer interaction exceptionally well. Now, I also show ourselves a little bit of grace because I'm selling a product I have no control over.
Right.
So, you know, if Progressive and Travelers and Safeco are raising rates, I don't have much option but to deliver the rate increase.
Right.
And that is hard, right? Is we're not the ones that set the price. We're not the ones that pay out the losses. And then those carriers are driven by, disasters.
Right.
So we have record disasters across our country paying out record losses. And Americans are feeling that in their pocketbooks today. And so I show ourselves a little bit of grace is that we're in a market that is super turbulent. But I don't want to use that as an excuse.
No, but I also think, knowing that, and to your point, like, because we are giving advice and we are knowledgeable in the space, we have to make sure we're using all of that and we're helping our customers with that. And that, I know that I've heard you talk about that. Everyone on the staff's getting calls every day, bothered with customers that are upset. And the thing is they're upset because part of that certainly is the money, but it's also not understanding the why. Yep. And if you can understand the why, then again, it doesn't mean you like it. You're not excited about the increase of 40% or 60% or whatever crazy number it might be. But if you understand the why, and again, fundamentally what insurance is doing, and that they're not just raising the rate and suddenly now they're going to make even more money than they're making before. They're raising the rate because they weren't making money. They were losing money. And then you get your arms around in a different way, and then you can calmly make a decision. And that's what I hear the staff talk about all the time, right? Is that I talked to this customer and they were really upset, and I kind of talked them off the ledge a little bit of how upset they were. And then they understood. And again, they're not excited, but right. And I think that's the win for us sometimes, right? Is like when they're not excited, but they stayed, they know that we're taking care of them and we're doing the best for them. And you said it at the beginning, it's like, it's way less expensive to keep customers than to go get them. Yeah. And so anytime we can be in that place of, here are all the different things that keep someone with us, we're going to try to do every one of those if we can to keep them with the company. So
yeah, And what you're saying is well informed, right?
Yeah.
We have to keep our customer well educated of here is the market, here's what's going on, here are the data points.
Right. And I think, insurance is unique, and to your point that you don't set the price, and there's and you're at someone else's mercy when it comes to that. And at the same time, I think to your point about informed, that goes across every business, right? A customer needs to understand what it is they're paying for, why it's the cost that it is, and what they're going to get for that. And the better you can do that, the more of them are going to stay, right? You have a better chance at having true retention, and having that drive your business and be in that spot where, again, it makes the business more valuable as well, because that, especially in this business, you have built-in ARR. That is a part of this. We have annual return that is going to have annual revenue that's going to happen as long as we do our part, right? And so, very specifically, specific ways that works in insurance, but it's the same in every business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the same in every business. Whether it's a return client, that is ARR.
Mm-hmm.
How many clients do you have showing up every day to take in the service you provide?
Yep.
Yeah, that is all. It's funny. I think about, right. You think about the ebbs and the flows, and auto dealers, when you think about ARR, is like, we sell a car and then they're gone.
Right.
And so oftentimes that experience is really, really poorly. Well, with the supply chain, auto dealers have been in a season of making a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
So the customer experience has gone way down. And the ones that are doing amazing kept up customer experience while they're making a bunch of money.
Right.
Now auto dealers are moving into a season where they're not. People aren't buying as many cars. Interest rates are high. And they're all grappling. And they're like, hey, if you treated me well 2 years ago, I would be back.
Right.
I'd come back to your service department.
Yep.
The service department was so slow, so inept, because you had so many cars that you didn't have to give a great customer experience.
Right.
And now they're really feeling the pain of that.
Yep.
And so I internalize it with our business. Is like, don't ever get lazy. Don't ever take your customers for granted, because life does this. Right. It's up and down and all around, and our whole economy is constantly cycling. And so for us, it's like, stay engaged, fight for your customers. Because you do that, people respond. That's what we want, right? That's what I want. As
Absolutely. Well, Murray, that's perfect. I really appreciate your time today and this conversation. And as like I said, I'm such a geek around when it comes to customer loyalty and why you keep your customers and what you do. And I've loved watching at C1 and My Utilities. You put all of that in motion all of the time, and how you care about that. I think one of the things for me, working at a research companies, I always felt like I had the answers, but I didn't necessarily have contact with the people that were going to do something about it. Yeah. And so I could tell them what they should do, but they didn't necessarily go act. And I always knew, okay, someday I want to be somewhere where I'm going to know what the answer is, and they're going to care, and they're going to want to make a change to make it better. And so, from a Proxxy perspective, it has just been a dream to work with you this way, to say, I think this is an issue. Should we do this? And should we do that? And that we're constantly pushing to do better all the time. It's just, it's again, why I left research to do my own thing, is where I could make that kind of impact and see that impact happen. And why we focus on small and medium-sized businesses, because when I was working with Fortune 200 firms, I can't make an impact like we can make an impact, and just how exciting it is to see the growth and at C1 and My Utilities.
Yeah, well, it's been amazing to have Proxxy on our team. I think what's been really fun, for us is data, right? Like when you really zoom out and you think about these small and medium-sized businesses, we don't know what we don't know. Right. And we don't know what data we should be getting. And then you bring, the expertise of Proxxy, like you mentioned, is there's a lot of Fortune 100, there's a lot of Fortune 50, there's a lot of Fortune 500 expertise that's coming alongside. And you've always done just a terrific job, your whole team has, of bringing the right data to say, hey, here's how we can make a better decision. And okay, we're going to use this data to make a better decision. And then we're going to track it. How did we do? Right? Like, oh, we're actually making an impact. Oh, we actually, if in our measurables now, it is unbelievable. Like the amount of data that we measured today from 5 years ago is 200. I don't know how. Like,
It is crazy.
4x.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It is a lot. It's a lot more, but it's not just a lot more data. It's a lot better data.
It is.
And that's what's been fun. It wasn't as your brain, hey, here's how we can improve. It was based on expertise and knowledge to say, this is what we can do to measure this piece of data. Right. We need to have this number of phone calls. We need to look at it this way. And we've seen just outsized returns on that.
Mm-hmm.
We're able to act on it. And we're able to respond to it. And it's been a fun, it's been a fun ride. And I'm excited to see. I'm excited for a little bit better market conditions. So customer retention is hard.
Right. Exactly.
I was joking with somebody the other day. I'm like, I've got 5,000 customers and all 5,000 of them are mad at me because of their premium. Now I'm thankful they stuck with us. And I attribute that to we're fighting for them.
Absolutely. I agree.
Warned, and we're responding as quickly as we can. And so it's set up for success for sure.
Very good. Well, Murray, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here on the leaders list and look forward to the next thing we figure out and make better.
Cool. Yeah, there's a lot. It's a new set of challenge every day, but I guess you, like us, is you're a glutton for punishment, which is where you love taking on the next hill, the next opportunity, and that's what makes business fun.
It is absolutely
big challenges, solving new problems, and getting better every day. So I love doing it with you guys. You guys have been a huge part of our team and our growth story. That's what I to give you. Yeah. So to give you guys the commercial, it is it is really fun to look back and say, hey, how have we grown and what is the impact? And I think is there one thing that you guys did for us? Probably not. But were you a part of everything? 100%. And so it's fun to think that back in that, and just the expertise that Proxxy has brought us has been phenomenal. And appreciate you guys' time.